Unfortunate when you
Yeah.
watch them rise. However, they're not going to stay high forever.
Welcome to another episode of What is Your Story? I'm your host, Louis Sarkis, owner of a full-service digital marketing company here in the heart of Temecula Valley. Today, we have a truly inspiring guest with us, Erin Quinn. Erin, welcome to the show. I cannot wait to hear your story. What inspired you to become a mortgage lender and to bring you to this point where you are now? Please share the story with us.
When I was 17, I started in the industry as a receptionist. When I was about 20 years old, in 2004, I originally got my real estate license. I didn't get my real estate license for real estate. My goal was to do home loans. And I grew and thrived in that industry, went from receptionist to assistant processor to processor, junior underwriter, and of course, loan originator. And I left the industry when the market crashed in about 2009. I started my hiring process for the police department, wound up jumping ship, unfortunately, because of the market. And I went to become a 911 dispatcher.
No way.
That was the most rewarding job ever. And then I worked there for about 6 years. And I got hurt pretty bad and went through work comp recovery for about 5 years or so. And I got to the point where I was done with work comp. Everything was good and I was still broken. So I actually went searching for a chiropractor thinking, oh my gosh, something's got to help me because work comp truly didn't. So I wound up finding this company that did chiropractic, stem cell therapy, and all of this cool rehab program.
That's cool.
So I jumped on board. I was excited. I'm like, okay, something that can actually fix me that has a 90% success rate. So of course I did it. And it was a whole program of chiropractic, traction machine, laser therapy, PRP, and stem cell. And literally a year later, I was better. I could sit again. I could stand again. I could be in front of the computer for 12 hours if I wanted to.
That's
cool.
I
couldn't have done that before. So I got better and I was like, okay, I'm not going back to police. I'm going to do what I know how to do, which is mortgages. So the programs out there for heroes are absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Not only do you have a lower interest rate than what anyone else can get,
yes,
you can get down payment assistance where they cover your entire down payment. And there's also grants for closing costs. So if you want to take, maybe call it 1% or 2% of your sales price,
yes,
and you want to use that toward closing costs or rate buy down or whatever you want to work with, you have that money. So it's an amazing program. I've closed a few recently. I've got another one in process. These loans are for nurses, doctors, first responders, firefighters, police, and public safety officers. And we can also do these programs for VA buyers. We know VA requires no down payment. However, you can pair this with your VA and you have a down payment to where your monthly mortgage payment on your first is going to be less. And then no mortgage insurance, which is huge.
That is huge. Actually, that was one of my questions is, can you share a story about a incident where a hero was benefited from a program that you offered?
Yes. So my most recent closing, this gentleman was a firefighter.
Firefighter.
Yep. He came to me about 6 months ago and I pulled his credit And unfortunately, he didn't have a credit score high enough to be able to do anything. Okay. So he and I look at his credit and go through to see what he could maybe pay off or pay down to get his score where we needed it. And we found an account on there. It was a collection that looked like it was due, but he had actually paid it. So we did a conference call together with that creditor. We got a letter stating that the account was in fact paid in full. And 2 months later, his credit score was exactly where we needed it to be.
Perfect.
And he has officially closed escrow, and the realtor that we partnered with gave him a $3,000 credit towards his closing costs. All of my heroes that I work with that come to me without a realtor, I connect them with my team of realtors, and we offer $3,000 for all real estate transactions we receive for heroes. And that is very, very helpful because essentially that's $3,000 less than they have to come up with.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. What an inspiring story. Okay, so can you share with us what makes you different than other mortgage lenders? Obviously, there's like a million mortgage lenders out there. What makes Erin Quinn different than others?
So what makes me different is I actually answer my phone. Whether it's 7 a.m. or whether it's 10 p.m., if I'm awake, I will answer my phone. If it's the middle of the night and I don't answer my phone, send me a text. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll text you back. I know I have agents come to me all the time that tell me that these lenders they work with, right when they ask them if they could help them with a loan, whether it's a land loan, a construction loan, whatever it may be, the answer is always, no, I can't do that. But you can get a loan for anybody. It's just a matter of how much money do you have to put down and what your rate's going to be. So
I love that answer.
Instead of these guys giving maybe options, maybe you could call this person or that person, they don't. It's just a hard no. For me, doesn't matter if I can do it or not. I'm going to find a way to do it. In fact, I actually had a former client reach out to me recently because he wanted to get a second to build a pool. So he and I talked about it, and I told him that what I can offer versus what his bank can offer wasn't as good. What his bank can offer, being with a firefighters credit union, he was able to get even lower rates on the second than I was. And I told him, I was like, if you can get better, please do it, because this is going to be in your best interest. I'd rather him go there and be happy with me, and maybe I'll get referrals, then, hey, let me do it and it's going to be higher. And I just don't feel that that's the right way to handle business.
Yeah. Is it easy to get second loans right now on a home?
It's not just as easy as it has been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know it's like, with the interest rate so high and everything. I don't know, do you feel like people are getting seconds now or not as much?
Yes. So what I'm noticing right now, a good majority of the U.S. population that has mortgages has a good rate in the ballpark of 2 or 3% because most people refinanced. So anybody coming to me wanting to pull equity out, I'm not advising them to refinance because we don't want to touch that rate. It's so good. So what we're doing is I'm doing equity lines of credit to pull out cash so they can consolidate debt or maybe do home improvements.
That's interesting. Okay, that's cool. So what about the interest rate? What's your view on that?
Myself and every lender and realtor in this country are hoping and praying that they do come down. It's unfortunate when you watch them rise. However, they're not going to stay high forever. At some point, they're going to go down. And for these clients right now, closing escrow on homes, we know that the rates are a little high. However, 1 year, 2 years down the road, they can refinance. And if they refinance, they don't have to come out of pocket with any of the costs involved. And most people don't realize that, especially the first-time buyers. So that's a good benefit for them down the line.
So do you see more people are buying the rates down, maybe with adding more points?
I'm seeing rate buy downs. I actually have a seller that's trying to find a buyer right now. One of my realtors reached out and they're willing to give as high of a rate buy down as necessary.
No way.
Yeah. So there are sellers out there that will, and it truly depends.
So it's buyer's market. So you can really negotiate if you want with the seller to buy down the rate if you want.
Absolutely.
That's cool. All right. So here comes the question of the day. What advice do you give to someone out there, either selling home or a first-time buyer? What advice do you give them to get a loan?
So as far as any first-time buyer, second buyer, or anybody even wanting to refinance, the most important thing, of course, is paying your bills on time. Another thing that most people don't realize is with credit cards, let's say your balance is $50,000, but you have $100,000 limit, they look at it like you're maxed. That's how they view those accounts unless you're 30% or lower of the available limit.
Okay.
So that's important too. We advise people not to apply for credit cards, car loans, or anything like that and establish new debt, because by doing those things, you're going to drop your score. And every time you have your credit run, it drops a little bit by a little bit every time it's pulled. And most people don't realize when they go and try and buy a car, their credit may be pulled 10, 15 times, depending on how many lenders they shopped you with. So definitely.
So when you're buying a home, don't go buy a car.
Exactly. One more super, super, super important thing that I run into all the time. If you're going to be in the process of buying a house and you're planning on making deposits into your bank account, if you make cash deposits, we have a challenge because we can't paper trail those. So it's very, very important that what you're depositing in your account can be sourced so we know where it's coming from. And in this country nowadays with money laundering, it's very strict. They want to know where everything's coming from. Future plan is to build a team.
Nice.
I don't want to be all by myself because I know I have the skills to grow a team, inspire a team, and help them thrive.
Nice.
So my goal in the next year or so is to at least have 3 loan originators under me that I can train, I can empower, and teach the programs that we have available. So the best way to get a hold of me is by phone or text. My cell phone number is 951-390-8485. Once again, 951-390-8485. You can send me an email at Erin Quinn, homeloansplural.com. I'm always available and have a very quick response time. So feel free to reach out, and I look forward to helping you.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Erin, for coming on my show. And I want to hear you guys' story. Reach out to me. I'd love to promote your business just like this.